Do you remember? This used to be a beautiful land, and for 1,000 years we lived in peace and harmony. But as foretold, the scourge Vardus has returned with an army of monsters and filled the world with ruin and despair. Now, the fate of Radia rests with you. Wake up, champion. Challenge the forces of evil. Bring back hope to our land and claim the Twilight Sword. Do you remember? This used to be a beautiful land, and for 1,000 years we lived in peace and harmony. But as foretold, the scourge Vardus has returned with an army of monsters and filled the world with ruin and despair. Now, the fate of Radia rests with you. Wake up, champion. Challenge the forces of evil. Bring back hope to our land and claim the Twilight Sword.
Twilight Sword campaign and promise with for the first time, because I believe it's also the first time that they meet each other. Today with us we have Daniela Giubellini, Ludovico Sartirana, that you know from the previous live stream, and for the first time Donata Poli with us. So let us know if you can hear us. Obviously, okay. This is a new one all the time. So let's try with this one. Maybe this one works better. It's the beauty of the live streams, guys. So while we wait, I hope that you can hear us now. Okay, that's better. Okay. So let's start from the beginning, shall we? So hi everyone, this is a live stream to kind of launch the first 9 days of the Twilight Sword campaign, and for the first time we are here as promised with all the art group of Twilight Sword united for the first time. We have Daniela Giubellini here with me, Lodovico Sartirana, that you already know, and Donata Poli once again. So hopefully this second presentation was better and heard. Okay. There's also Simone lurking in the chat, so if you have any questions, Simone will try to answer while I try to handle this huge live stream. First things first, Donata, this is the first time that you are here with us, first time that you work with Tulid and Mice, and first time that you are on a live stream. So do you want to introduce yourself or talk a bit about yourself?
Hi, I am Donata Poli, an Italian illustrator that I'm currently working with Little Mice on the buildings and the map of the game that we can later, we will see them later. And yeah, I started working in this field as a 2D artist for video games actually, but now I am in the board game field and actually really liking it, so yeah.
Okay, and we started working with Donata, I believe, more than a year ago now on Twilight Sword.
Yes.
Starting from, I believe the first thing we worked on were the landmarks and the buildings, and then we moved quickly on the map, which took quite a few months to build the map together with Daniela. So today, both Lodovico and Donata have brought you something new. So we have some spoilers from the actual book. And even Daniela, I believe, have something a little, yeah, little something. But Daniela is cooking up something for the big finale
Yeah.
for the last week of the campaign. So let's see. You have surely you have already seen the big map that Donata did together with Daniela, and surely you already know some of the landmark, including this spectacular treehouse that Donata did as one of the very few first pieces for Twilight Sword. But recently, Donata has also unveiled the city of Sagrata, that is the capital city of the Cadis, so cat folk of Twilight Sword. And today we have some of the backstage for this art, so how the city of Sagrata was born. So I'm showing now the very first draft Donata and the first 3D model. Do you want to talk about your process a bit so people can see how this masterpiece come to life?
Yeah. For my process, I usually start with a sketch, a few drafts on the ones I guess you can see on the
Yes.
screen. I can see them. And after I select the one sketch I prefer, I then start working on Blender, building a 3D base with all the principal blocks and shapes that I need. And after I'm pretty satisfied with the 3D models, I set up the lightings, the camera view, and so that I can take a screenshot, I guess, that I can use as a base on Photoshop to do the actual Illustrator. I take the screenshot, I put it as a base, and then I do the line work, the colors, the overpaint, and everything on top of it. And it's my usual process for this kind of work for buildings because I think Blender is a great tool and I don't know how to use it as a 3D artist for video games or other things like that, but as a 3D artist, it's very useful and very, very easy also to use. And I use it quite a lot in this kind of work, so yeah, that's my process. While on Photoshop, I start by refining the sketch on top of the 3D models. On the second of that, I do the line work and adjust the shadows, the base color, and all the usual things. This is my process. You can see it with the Sagrada Palace. Yeah.
See, people are appreciate. People always, I have to say, our backers and fans always like to see the whole process because it's always for people like me who can't draw. It's always magic how you get from when I see Daniela drawing. There is at a certain point I can see what she's doing, like it's lines on a tablet, and then there is that one line that kind of turns everything into something magical. You know, you see the full picture and you're like, okay, I don't know how you went from this to that. So it's always fascinating even for me to see when we work with Donata. Usually we start with different little drafts to start and see how we envision where do we want to go with the building, and then the first 3D model, as you can see now on screen, and then we Donata go on with lights and all that sort of stuff. And of course, after that, there is a lot of actual painting on top of the building. So it's come the most, I believe that the longest part of the process is actually overpainting on the 3D.
Yeah, of course.
But this, I think Donata is the only one who uses 3D. I don't know, Ludovico, if you use any 3D in your work.
I don't use it, but not by choice. It's because I'm unable to do so, and I really envy the ability to use 3D in the workflow because the result is pretty cool, I would say.
Thank you.
And so yeah, it made sense to have someone who knew how to use 3D for the landmarks because it give us this kind of unique perspective on each building. And one thing we already talked about this with Lodovico, but one thing that is a bit crazy about Twilight Sword is everything has to fit into a square. So Daniela knows the pain of working into a square, and Lodovico knows it as well because it's not easy to do dozens of characters or monsters or building that all fits into a square. A square is a very like weird shape, and it's also it forces you to think inside of the box, which is unusual for an artist. And so having this ability to move the camera around the 3D model really help, I believe, in finding the right angle for something that has to be so tightly enclosed into a box. But apart from this, the city of Sagrata, Donata, we also have something unique to share, something that I think people will appreciate, which is the longhouse, which is the main house of the capital city of the Pengu, who live up on Pen Mountains. And I will start from the draft, from the first sketches. So here you can see different versions of this Pengu longhouse. I don't know, Donata, if you want to tell us something about this building, which I believe is very peculiar.
So, okay. Wait. Okay, I have them on my second screen, so I can actually see them.
See, yeah, there is a little bit of lag, but I'm showing the first draft of all the different longhouses.
With all the different sketches. Okay, so yeah, I had in mind the square format that we have to use in the book. So I tried to different shapes and different yeah, shapes basically to do this longhouse. The biggest challenge was to keep the longhouse shape while using the upper space of the square. So you can see that in a lot of the sketches, the draft, I added some other parts on top of the main house. And from the 8 that you can see there, we selected the fourth one. So yeah, we liked the penguin face in the front of the house that was a little bit silly, a little bit cartoonish. And then after selecting this sketch, I started working with Blender at the base. And
Here you can see the 3D model.
That's so cool, by
For
the
it?
yeah,
way.
3D model. Then I selected the camera angle and everything in between, and then I put it on Photoshop to select the colors, the lighting, the effects, and everything else that I couldn't put in Blender because I'm not skilled enough to put everything. So yeah, and this is the first colored draft. After this, I usually start doing the line art. Maybe I will have to sketch the details of some parts, like the the door part. I'll figure it later. But I'll do the line work, the shading part, and all the painting process that will be the main focus and the main part of the whole process. Yeah.
It's always lot of love from both for both the pengus and the art itself. As you can see, this is not quite done yet, but it's already I think you can clearly see like for me the best part as I watch these being made is always seeing the 3D that slowly disappear from the art, because at first you see all these big gray blocks and it's amazing to see the shape, and then you are kind of worried that it will feel a little bit too video gamey, too lifeless, you know. And then there is this magical last step when you kind of forgot that this was a 3D model to begin with, and you start to see the whole picture. So it's always cool. And by the way, little like art direction note. Here we find out with Donata that it's really hard to convey penguin.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about cats, you have a lot of things that will say cats, because you have the cat's ear, the cat paws, the little bells, you know, that cat used to have on their collars. And when we talk about pengus, like the only thing that said penguin was a penguin, a whole penguin. Like there's no way to kind of represent a penguin apart from the penguin shape. So we had this idea of the
Penguins and maybe fish, I think.
yeah fishes.
That's it.
Lodovico has a lot of fish bone weapons in his pengu art, and with Donata we came up with this idea of, since the longhouse kind of looks like an upside down ship, we came up with this I don't know how to say in English, but you know, this the foremost part of the ship, you know, shaped like a pengu. So yeah, figurehead. Yes, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I believe so. I have to believe you because I don't have the word. So yeah, this is before the end of the campaign. I think Donata, they will see the final piece of this long house. We have like 9 days, so it's fun to give deadlines live because she can't say no now.
Seems
So
like a threat.
yeah, exactly. Like Donata's like, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, it would be cool. We'll see if we can manage in time. And Donata, I'll be back at you at the end. Now we'll move to Ludovico to show something new from his point of view. Let me see. Oh, so since you liked draft so much last time, Ludovico have brought some of the original ideas for different monsters, some old and some a couple new that you haven't already seen. So I always appreciate when artists decide to show all the different drafts so people can say that I choose the wrong one. And they usually do. So let's see if this time I manage to choose the best one. But I have to say that for this particular art, for the Cyclop, me and Lodovico, I believe we were online with what to choose. So at least it's a shared guilt, shared responsibility. So right
I
now,
have to check. I have to check because one thing is that as artists, or at least this is my experience, maybe other artists have different. I have a terrible memory, so when people I go back watch the sketches, I'm like, what the, I don't remember this one. Uh, so so maybe I will watch them and agree with the fact that maybe another one was better. But I think in this case it was probably the best one. Yes, Cyclops is pretty easy as a monster. It's an angry big guy with one eye. Pretty simple, not that complicated.
I think looking at the sketches right now, I like the one I also liked. I remember the two a lot, the one with the arms on the sky, because it
Yes.
gives you an idea of. This is another thing that maybe Ludovico, you can talk a little bit about how hard it is to convey the dimension of a monster when there is no. There's no landscape, there's no human figure, so you always have to find solutions to tell people how big this monster is supposed to be.
Yes, especially when the monster is not in an illustration, so not in an environment where you can see it compared with something else. Like in every environment, there's the famous little guy with the stick that is on the bottom
Yes.
right. When we have the monster that is completely out of context, we have to mm, convey the idea of how big this thing is. So maybe this was one of the reasons why we picked the number one, because he has like a tree in his hands, so we can guess it's a pretty big guy. Another other option that I really liked was 4 and 5 because since we're Italian and Polifemo was probably located around Sicily or
Yeah.
in that part. There's the idea of Polifemo throwing rocks, so that was also an option that I really liked. But probably we went with the number one because it's pretty solid, pretty angry, and fit really well in a square. So it was probably the best option.
And also we can see a lot of different color schemes for the for the Cyclop. At the end, we went for this kind of light purple, but there was some
Yes.
interesting choices like the red one and the blue one.
Yeah, we tried some different options. Some options like the red one, obviously for some other monster that we done later, we didn't want to repeat too much like the same color scheme. So I think purple was probably the best one, unless someone in the chat prefers another version.
Yes, if you want
Yellow
another.
was too much like a Simpson character. I was like, no, no, too much.
It's someone asked in the Discord server, how do you choose? They are also cool. How do you choose? And what Lodovico was saying is one of the main reason for which is a little bit easier to choose is that we are not doing a single monster. In this case, we are doing like 50, 60. We are doing a bunch of them, and so sometimes we choose like we have too many red monsters. Now we need a cold one, or we need a blue one, or there's too much big guys. Now we need a tall one. So sometimes you can choose by um, ticking boxes that you already have, and it's a good way, I believe, to make a choice because it's not about. It would be hard to choose the best, but we're not choosing the best. We are choosing the fittest for this specific, you know.
And after all, the best is the one who fits, not the actual best one.
Yes,
It's the one that works in the project.
and one we haven't done yet. So, moving on, we have a new monster. Actually, here I start with this one. I'll start with the draft. So this is kind of a drake, kind of a small wingless dragon. And it started from the idea of having a monster that lived in a canyon, if I remember correctly. Like we started with the idea of this redstone and the canyon, and someone who had to adapt to live in a hot and dry environment. And so we came up with this kind of wingless dragon that could roll on himself like a sort of yeah, pangolin. I believe it's the English word, but I could be wrong. So, do you want to walk Lodovico us through this process before we reveal the one that we choose?
The final version, yes. So this one was clearly inspired by I don't remember the name even in Italian. It's like that spiny lizard that lives in the desert. Probably you have the idea in your mind, and it was inspired by that and probably like the aesthetic of Monster Hunter, which I never played, but I always admired the art direction. And the color scheme was pretty easy. It was not something that we explored so much because an animal that lives in the desert. So it was more interesting exploring like the pose, the general pose, and so I tried different things. And for many of these monsters, one thing that Rico always told me was that the monsters have to feel like monsters, but at the same time doesn't need to be too. They have to feel like a bit cute. So something that you want, like how do you say when you the way
They're cute, but they're monsters. So it's this is a tough balance that we're looking for, because on one end, you these monsters are made out of pure evil and despair in this world, so they are not a sentient creature. You cannot adopt the vast majority of monsters. They don't have a culture. They are made out of the despair brought by Vardas. On the other end, since we have this kind of whimsical word, Japanese inspired word, we wanted them to be kind of cute. And also, Lodovico, a bit dumb. This is something that we had like
yeah,
on our list. They had to be dumb. They are not fearsome. They are more like stupid creatures.
they can still kill you.
Yes, of
It's
course,
something
and
that
they
you have to
will
keep in
probably.
mind. But don't make the master of or the creators of the game stop you by trying to adopt them.
Yes,
Try and die in the process.
as we always
Uh,
say, don't let a book tell you what to do. Like,
Exactly. So I was trying to find the right balance, and for this reason, maybe we didn't go for like a more rounded shape that maybe was like too much cute, and we ended up with the final version that was probably the top one, which was a pretty static and I would say pretty how do you say impon
imposing. Yes, it's a
a
bit.
figure, an imposing figure, yes. So this was the, but with those little small arms that make him kind of cute at the end.
And
I
it's
guess, yeah.
basically like 60% mouth.
Yes.
Yes, this sort of very wide as and a bit toothless, mouth. So is it looks like a grown-up puppy. It's in a certain way, like a very big puppy rather than an adult. No, it
They
doesn't.
ask in the chat, they are, I don't know actually.
No, it doesn't. It will eat rocks for breakfast, but so it's mainly like very sturdy and armored sort of creature that will use his big tail and spikes to roll down a canyon and possibly crush you. So yeah. But this is one of my favorite design because I like spiky things and strong angles, and I like the fact that this is clearly something that can roll, so something that should, as Lodovico was saying, should be a bit rounded, but it's actually nothing is rounded. It's all uh, spikes and angles. Yes. And then we have another one to show, Ludovic, and I believe this is also a new one we haven't shown before, which is a sort of an Oni kind of monster. Let's start from the draft for this one as well. So you can see I believe the big challenge with this one was to make it different from the Cyclops. Very different monster, but similar sort of physique, because they're both with a big belly, big shoulder, big arms, and
And they have a big stick, which
yes,
is a similar shape. So we tried something different. We make him like the Cyclop, like an angry guy, was probably going to be too similar. So we tried something different, which is, spoiler, the shape number 3, which is him sitting and waiting, almost like some kind of guardian. And it's a type of image that I saw many times in the Japanese anime culture, so it was something that I really like, and obviously could fit well in the square. And for the color, we went for the red one, which is the reason why we didn't use it with the Cyclops, because um, it's something that is connected with the Japanese culture. Which, little curiosity, I if I don't if I remember correctly, at the beginning Onis were more like blue in ancient times, but with the arrival of Christianity, red became a more common color associated with Onis. So it's one of the reasons why I decided to go with that one.
And I don't know, Donata, I don't know if you can see all the different. Do you agree with the with the pose that we choose?
Yeah, it was actually my favorite, so I'm actually happy that you decided to proceed from that one. And I agree with the color choice. They are all so good. I love all the designs, the shades. Wow, they're amazing. Yeah.
And this is also one of those things that happened with Donata as well, and with Daniela, of course, especially on Household, where the art and the art choices kind of shape the game a little bit because, as Lodovico was saying, um, we realized that both the Oni and the Cyclops were two big guys with a stick, and so we had to. This also changed the design of the monster in terms of game design because you realize that you have two of the same tropes basically, so you want to make them diverse. So as you can see, the Oni became more kind of a cunning, patient sort of guy, and is definitely less imposing than the Cyclops, but more frightening in a way because you can see he's a smart guy. Like he's, I think the fact that he's big and he got a stick is the least of your concern when you are facing this kind of creature, probably. So um, this is I believe the beauty of our job, of the way we work, that we can take advantage of different professionality, of different way of perceiving what we do, and it really, because most of the people, at least in the old days, like when the industry of the RPG started, it was like, game design and then writing and then layout and then the art. And sometimes you would buy a bunch of the art or have some art made after writing everything. So the art wasn't part of the creation process, was just something to embellish the book. This day, everything is faster, we are all connected, and we have this kind of privilege to work with talented artists and build this game from the ground up together, which I believe is the core of our like workflow. And no one more than Lodovico and Donata and of course Daniela, but she's part of the main team, can tell you how much these things are built as we do them. Like, if you think that Lodovico has like 20 to 30 briefs that he has to follow, like a list of creatures that he has to do, decided from day one, you are wrong. Unfortunately for Ludovico, it's a very ongoing process with different idea coming up and having to adjust. But it's also, I believe, it's the fun part.
Yeah, you don't know. You can always be surprised.
Yeah, you don't know what you have to do next, like literally in Ludovico's case right now. Because Ludovico just delivered the final piece today, so he's actually waiting for instructions. And Donata is still on the long house, but now we have a deadline of 9 days, so we have a little bit of time. So I'd say we move to Daniela a little bit, and then we'll wrap back to everyone. Daniela, what do we have from you today?
I literally don't know. So
So yes, Daniela is responsible for the most of the character and scene that you've seen right now. I'm showing just all the different keys that you have seen, just to give you an idea in case you are new and don't know Daniela. And also Daniela did the cover art for both Twilight Sword and Lens of Radia. Um, and by the way, both cover art featuring a very buff penguin, which was kind of the leitmotif of Twilight Sword. Um, and by the way, let us know in the chat what's your favorite cover between the core book and Lens of Radia, because we have something that I don't know how much it is known in the chat, or how much do you know, guys, that you are following this live stream, is that there is a reason why we are three into Little Mice and I make all the decision, like I call all the shot. And this is because Daniela and Simone do not agree on anything ever. Like there's no way that Daniela and Simone, if I have a question like, what do we go with, A or B, they will say A, B, like like literally all the time. So if ever Simone and Daniela agree on something, that means that either there's something wrong or it's a very clear answer. So a lot of love for Lands of Radia. So they are all parting with you on this, because Daniela prefers Lands of Radia, and I believe Simone prefers the core book one. Of course, it's, kind of the rule. Also, Daniela, of course, is responsible for this fight scene, that it's the cover art of the campaign. Core book, of course, from Simone. And she has made some of the character that you will find in the starter set, like Fiora, is Yuma, Way of the Blade, and Garth, Yuma, Way of the Wild. But today I think we can show you, and yes, of course, and this one, this is, people went crazy for this one. I don't know if I haven't talked about this last time. I don't know if you want to say something about this particular piece.
well, I was waiting for this one because before starting to work on the game, we knew that it would have a cooking mechanic inside, and I knew I had to do a cooking scene, and I really love to draw food. That's the fact. If you have already read the Saga of the Long Winter, there's a food scene inside, and that's my favorite one.
Yes, Coco eating with
Ajax.
With Ajax, yes.
And this one too, I really have, I don't know what to say, because I just had fun drawing a really bossy cat who's cooking for this cute health lady. So
I can say that, I don't know if you want to talk about this, when this art started, next to the cat there wasn't this hunter girl, this huntress, but there was actually a sort of knight character. So it was sort of like Laios from Dungeon Meshi. So this kind of dump knight or warrior that was very invested in the cooking. So we had the cat who was invested, in this man who was basically waiting for his food, and it kind of took a little bit away from the cat, that there was this other serious character. So we went with this kind of silly, don't know what's going on.
Too little interaction, because he was okay with what was happening. He was just waiting for food, and it was quite a peaceful scene. In this case, I really like how she's. She looks like she has never seen someone cooking food.
Someone cooking vegetables.
Yeah, vegetables.
You can see she's a
So
huntress, and probably she's not used to see her food, cooking food, and cooking vegetables.
yeah,
Like,
the meat has to be eaten raw,
yeah,
like
exactly.
you find it.
So it's we like the idea of her being like sort of shocked about this cat cooking,
Oh,
because we think it gave a lot of strength to how concentrated, how dead serious the cat actually is.
so you also gonna eat that, like roots and mushroom? Okay, it's
I guess.
fine.
And we went for this again, quoting Dungeon Meshi. We like there is Marcy that she doesn't want to try this kind of disgusting monster food in the anime, and but she always like it in the end. So we went with this idea of this huntress kind of being both excited and surprised of having to try this food. So that was the
Yeah, that um,
and then we have also we have revealed that the next stretch goal that we are just about to reach, I believe tomorrow we will reach it, is going to be the Champion Journal, which is kind of a collection of blank character sheets that you can use for your champions. And Daniela for this one made an art that is actually part of a scene that you will see before the end of the campaign. That is this sorcerer, this way of magic, Yuma. I don't know if you want Daniela to.
yeah, she's the character. She's the character that stays in the back. Um, I when I draw a female character, I tend to choose a certain type of female character, like Fiora that we have seen before.
Like
A
knights
little
and-
warrior, yeah.
Yes, Fiora.
In this case, I wanted to do something a little more like a cleric mage, like a really soft but powerful character. I really don't have many occasions to draw female character like that, and I want to try. I have really fun with the hairs. And yes, also we change the color of the clothes for the cover of the
Yes.
the book.
For
Book.
the Champion
Yeah.
Journal, because she's actually will be
She's
part
a-
of a bigger scene when
eh,
she's in all white, I believe.
Yeah, and she's in all white there. So,
And,
oh, thank you.
this is also one of the few moments that Daniela can actually go a little bit crazier with the dynamic poses, because usually when we do character art, we try to keep them as still as possible, as like frontal as possible, so you can use them together on your VTT. You can do like standees for them or whatnot, but we like to have them all at the same height. And so when there is a scene, Daniela can go a little bit crazier with the
That's right.
dynamism. A lot of love for this mage as well. And yeah, I believe that's it. But we will have, before the end of the campaign, we will have another
We'll try to have the whole scene. Yeah.
another big scene. So I believe that's everything that we wanted to show today. I'm happy that we had all the artists, and seriously, guys, this is even for us the first time that we are all together in
In the same circle.
yes,
because,
in the same like video call, because I believe, yes, Lodovico and Donata actually never met apart from seeing each other work during the during the process. Donata, I don't know if you want to, since your first time here, if you want to be followed somewhere, if there's somewhere where people can find you on Instagram, on YouTube. I always forgot to ask.
Okay, you can find me only on Art Station. You can find me as Donata Poli name. If you want to check, you can
So
find me there.
it's not very social like Daniela. Like
Yeah.
it's basically is you cannot find her. So it's but you can find her following Twilight Sword, hopefully. And on ArtStation as Donata Poli, and you can find her name in the team section of the Backerkit campaign of Twilight Sword, of course. Lodovico, you are more social. You are on Instagram at least.
Yeah, I decided for the probably the wrong decision to stay on social media and destroy my mental health in the process. But you can find me on Instagram and on X or Twitter as Lodovico Sartirana. Pretty easy.
So yes, you can. I cannot link in the chat for some reason. Won't let us put a link in the chat YouTube, but we will. You can find their names on Backerkit team on the team section of the Backerkit page, and we will post them on our Discord server as last time. Final question for both of you. Let's start from Donata. Donata, what's the thing you enjoyed most and that you hated, that you liked the least about working on Twilight Sword?
Regarding the buildings, I really enjoyed working on many different kind of buildings because when I work for myself or maybe even other companies, you usually have only one aesthetic in mind, one culture, one particular set of people. While with Twilight Sword, we have such a open world building, open world, and you have so many cultures, and I really liked searching all the references and exploring so much with all the different landmarks. So I guess that's my favorite part of the process. Yeah.
Okay, the worst part of the process, because it's
The
fun
worst
to
part.
talk. Yes, it's always fun to talk about, ups and downs. You cannot answer. You have too many.
No, I was thinking maybe regarding the map of the world, because while on the one end it's beautiful to have all the different regions and cultures, it has been pretty difficult to make them all put together and balanced in one singular map. So that part was pretty challenging, and yeah, maybe that was the biggest challenge of the whole project.
I think the one of the thing that gets underestimated about making such a huge map with all this different, and also it's a very weird kind of um, distance to write a map from, because usually maps are either taken from a very high distance, so you can see cities as dots, or they are very much closed up. Like this is a very weird middle ground. One thing that it's a bit complicated is that you have mountains and you have buildings, you have cities, and you want to show how high they are, how wide they are, and you want to have everything in relation. But also sometimes the angle you find a building in, or a mountain in, it's not the most favorable to convey its shape or its height. So it was, I believe, a little bit of Rubik's cube to make this this map in the end. And there's always, from the chat, but also on Discord, there's always a lot of love for the giant fishbone stranded on the beach. And for you, Lodovico, best and worst part of this
Of this
experience,
project,
of this specific project?
experience, yes. Probably, I would say two things are probably the best that comes in mind right now. One is definitely working alongside other very talented and very good artists, and try to fit in the vision of the project, which is very cool. And the other things I would say is the very big number of stuff that I had to do. I think that the things that I was able to show and you have seen to this point are not even half
No, I
of
don't
the
think
monsters.
not even a third actually. Like
So that was pretty cool, and probably I wouldn't say the downside, maybe the difficulties that I've experienced during the project, which is something that is good to grow up as an artist. At the beginning was probably fit in with the art style, because obviously there's the necessity of making stuff that when you put side by side they
they're
don't seem like
consistent.
they. Okay, so at the beginning I had to understand better how to fit in a certain type of art style, but when you start to making stuff, you will figure it out.
It's always the one of the biggest challenge when you uh, start a project is that on you really need to find your voice, and this voice has to be aligned with yourself, otherwise you wouldn't be able to keep talking in the expressing yourself in that voice. But the voice has also be fitting with the game, with the product, with the project, and with the other people. So it's kind of a choir, you know. We are trying to singing on together on the same note. So there's always this kind of looking for the right voice. And I believe for you especially, this was one of the
Yeah, it was one of the hardest thing. I'm with Ludovico about this, and yes, being consistent with this kind of style, it's really challenging. Also, for me, it was the first time I was using line arts, and it's really fun to do, but also I usually use a completely different workflow. So it wasn't easy to adjust on that. They have to be clean, they have to have all the same spessore,
white,
teeth.
yes.
Yeah. And well, that was new, I guess.
And yeah, also you have you have to adjust to a different project process, which means that you are unsure how much time it will take to make something. That it's also something that gets um, not seen as much, but it's very important for an artist, to know how much time you're going to need to do something, to make some decision that are in line with what the project needs. Best part about Twilight Sword?
Um, well, a part of the fact that I really love the project in the per se. It's really different. Um, it's really different from what we usually do. I really like the fact that also the line art are the good thing is that I'm going to keep that part of of the process with me for the next projects. So even when a part of the work is difficult, you can learn from it and use it in the future. So it adds something.
Okay, I see a question from the chat. If any of you is open for commission, I know Daniela is never open for commission because Daniela doesn't have time to do.
Yeah, we usually do our passion project when we have time.
Yes,
So
which we are not doing right
yeah,
now,
right
but
now.
yes. But I don't know, Lodovico, I think, is taking commission, at least right now. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's...
at the moment, yes. Yes, I'm available for commission. Daniela, if you need help, you can blink to time.
And Donata, I think
No, at the moment, I don't.
that Donata um, is almost not taking any more from commission from me at the moment. So I thought so because uh, there's always a lot of stuff that needs to be done. But yeah, that's the um, sorry, the other side of the medal for such, a successful crowdfunding campaign, that we need to fill those pages and we need to commission art and art and art and art. Um, Anything you want to add, guys, before we leave? Lodovico, any last words or thoughts?
No,
Or
I think
anything else you are working on that you want to promote or that you want people to know?
no, I think that for me, I said everything. So for me, I'm
Okay.
good.
Donata, any last words or last thoughts that you want to share?
I agree with Vic.
This is,
Yeah.
there is a reason why these people choose painting as their way of communication. Like
Yeah.
I um
We max the one step only.
yes, that's as the writer of the team, I feel overwhelmed by your art all the time. Like I struggle to draw the most basic stuff, and I see you doing this masterpiece, and I like to have the superpower for Hans. Like I have the ability to speak in public. That's what we we can use now, because I didn't have to put any points in arts and crafts, so at least we've got that. So yeah, but um, as we always say, in the end, art is the solution we find to the problem that we encounter while we try to express ourselves. So that's the solution that these three amazing artists found, was illustration and paintings, and we're so grateful to have them seriously in our team. I honestly can't think of a better team to do Twilight Sword, not only for for your ability to actually draw stuff, which of course it's useful, but especially for your ability to understand the core concept and principle of the project, and um, working to communicate it, because it's really if anything from the chat, or any one of you who are following on see this live stream, have ever done a project like this, or will embark on publishing your books and RPGs or comic book, you'll see how hard it is to find other people that are working with you and not for you or for the project, or but are actually that actually care and show up. And one thing that I said both to Ludovico and to Donata when we start working together, I said I love seeing more than I ask for. Like I love seeing that when I say something like this is a weak pose, or maybe this does not convey the right message, I don't only see like the editing on what I've asked, which is already it's not granted, because you have to have a professional on the other side to actually tackle the problem. But I usually see more. I usually see them doing working the extra mile to try and understand the problem, and then try to fix them with their own voice. So it's um, always a pleasure. I've been having a great time with this project, and I think also Daniela, it's a little bit more relief that she's working with so many artists on this project for a change, and not doing all on by herself, like outgunned. That's quite a lot of work.
It's great also because, as Rico said, everyone adds something, and if our project remain with the three of us and sometime someone else, it risks to be always the same.
Yes.
And I think that both Donata and Ludovico add really a lot to the project.
So thank you guys for your art, and thank you for being here with us, and for doing this live stream in English with us. As always, we always struggle to try to speak in English for an hour, but I appreciate that you made the effort with us. And hopefully we will have another live stream at the end of the campaign or next year's with you. We will be happy to have you on board another time. But until then, let's go all back to work. So bye guys. Thank you again, Lodovico and Donata, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Do you remember? This used to be a beautiful land, and for 1,000 years we lived in peace and harmony. But as foretold, the scourge Vardus has returned with an army of monsters and filled the world with ruin and despair. Now, the fate of Radia rests with you. Wake up, champion. Challenge the forces of evil. Bring back hope to our land and claim the Twilight Sword.